family structure.
Yes.
And so when you have parents leaving and it isn't planned for and there isn't guardianship, we've heard the stories of barrel children and how this can lead to lost lives or lives that have gone in ways that were never planned for or never intended for.
Yes.
We also have to look at the socioeconomic impact on society, where older persons returning to Jamaica and what we can learn from them, or people who have returned with specific skills that they have gained overseas. We also have to think about our labor migration, whether it is short term or long term. We have nurses leaving, teachers leaving. Are we planning for that? How do we ensure that those who leave it doesn't have a negative impact on society as a whole? This doesn't mean that we're saying that people shouldn't leave. People will leave, irrespective of whichever country you're from. Migration is such an integral part of today's global situation, that what we're saying is that, as you said, know before you go, plan before you go. And just as the individual should plan for whatever it is that they're going to, in the same way, the government must plan to ensure that migration, whether it is internal or external, has a positive impact on Jamaica's development.
I'm happy you mentioned that, and Easton, I want to bring in here because as Director of Social Policy and Planning, PIOJ is critical. It is the essence of it. It's a planning institute of Jamaica.
Yeah.
How does this impact in terms of the plan, the policy, and so on for the government?
Well, I would probably want to speak about some of the factors
Sure.
why migration is important for us,
Yes.
and as the immigration of persons coming to Jamaica
Yes.
becomes more diversified, then the population itself and the culture itself becomes much more diverse, and so we need to ensure that those people who are coming are fully integrated.
Yes.
Those who are returning are reintegrated. Or as you rightly said, we have a long history of migration, and so those people who are returning also needs to be reintegrated into a new Jamaica. You know, Jamaica in a way has changed over the years.
It's a very important point because sometimes, and we as Jamaicans, we have a nostalgic view of
Right.
the country, and we've left it for 30, 40 years, and we come back, and the adjustment is stark, isn't it? I mean, and some things have been very positive, and some things not so.
Good.
So migration really has this kind of diverse impact, doesn't it?
Right.
It does.
So, and that leads us to the population. How is our population really being shaped by migration? And I want to just throw this out because, Easton, you mentioned about persons coming in. They may start families, yes, and the person may also leave later on. That will also change the kind of demographics, doesn't it? So
Yes.
migration in this instance, Keisha, how does it affect our population today?
I'll give you some facts that are taken from a recently published migration profile that was done by the Planning Institute of Jamaica with support from IOM. And this profile looked at Jamaica from 2010 to 2016. And what we saw was that we received over 11,700 immigrants. Most of these individuals were, however, professionals or highly skilled persons. We also saw approximately 16,000 forced returnees. Approximately, or a little bit less than 50% of these were from the USA. Similarly, we had 6,000 voluntary returnees, which we often refer to in Jamaica as returning residents. Again, a little bit under 50% of these individuals came from the USA. We have 148,000 voluntary immigrants. That is 78% of these persons went to the United States of America. And in summary, just under 1% of the population are not born in Jamaica. And what we think is that the majority of these are of a young age.
Yes.
In the last 10 years, what we have seen is that the US has significantly influenced our migration patterns.
That is so true. And of course, not with the places like United Kingdom and elsewhere.
Yes.
And even within the region, Cayman, for instance, is also another in destination really for many in Jamaica.
Let me explain, in very short terms,
Yes.
what is happening demographically globally.
Yes.
What is happening is that in the developed countries, all those countries have been indicating fertility levels much below replacement. That means a couple is not replacing themselves in the next generation,
Wow.
so that their population, the effects of that on the population structure of those countries, is that the child population, those
Yes.
under 14, is shrinking. Those between the working ages, between 15 and 64, that age group is also shrinking.
That's interesting.
And so the population that is really growing is the elderly in those countries. So you need people to replace your working age.
I see what you
And
mean.
so that is what is pulling population, towards those countries.
Yeah.
And in all developed countries that is the case.
But isn't that also interesting, Easton and Keisha, because the implications for us, we are a developing country, yes? And we have this migration of our younger population.
True.
For the seniors here. What does that mean? Can we end up following the same kind of track?
Well, I mean, recently, I must say that we have a surplus population within the working ages.
Yeah.
We have already shown some indication that the child population is declining
In Jamaica?
in Jamaica. But what we're seeing also is that the working age is increasing.
Yes.
And so that we have an excess of people within the working ages. And so sometimes if the labor market is, the economy is not responding to absorb all those people, we have excess persons. And so that is one of the reasons why we have an excess amount of people for migration. And we can use that as a tool for development.
Yes, because by virtue of the migration, the outlet,
Right.
because you get your remittances.
Remittances and not just in money,
Yeah.
but also in goods, in expertise coming back
Yes.
when they return, and all of that. So
Yes.
it's a real benefit to the country
Yeah. Keisha?
in that way.
Yes, I wanted to also mention that there are actually programs in place by certain private sector groups where they're actually reaching out to second and third generation Jamaicans. I don't know if you're aware of, I think it's Grace Kennedy, they have the birthright program.
Yes.
So while we might see that there is a shrinking of the population in terms of a certain age group, there's also a wide or a large number of people of Jamaican descent overseas that we can pull on.
Yes.
And believe me when I tell you that the pull of this small island state is really, really strong.
Yes.
And so there are even people who were not born here, who have not visited here, consider this home once they have Jamaica